My name is Bruce Young, and I'll be teaching a class on great poems of the English language. We'll be meeting Mondays at 1 p.m. starting on September 11th. First of all, I want to explain why I've chosen this topic. I've loved poetry through most of my life and love the way that it can enrich our lives. And I'm excited to share that love with my ElderQuest friends. In this class, we'll be talking about some of the greatest poems in the English language, including poems by Shakespeare, Spenser, Donne, Herbert, Milton, Blake, Wordsworth, Coleridge, Keats, Robert and Elizabeth Browning, Gerard Manley Hopkins, William Butler Yeats, T.S. Eliot, and others. I hope you've heard of many of those poets, and in any case, they're all worth getting to know. We'll also talk about some American poets, including Emily Dickinson and Walt Whitman. We'll even look at a poem or two by the fine Welsh poet Leslie Norris, who taught at BYU for many years. Anyway, what that means is that we'll be looking at poetry from the 1500s to the 2000s. Of course, even in the space of 10 weeks, we'll only be skimming the surface of the vast quantity of wonderful poetry written in English. But I'll try to make sure that we look at some of the best and most interesting poems. We'll focus mostly on short poems so that we'll be able to look at them in detail in class. And by the way, I'll be sending copies by email ahead of time and also on handouts in class, so you'll be able to look at the poems. I'll also refer you to additional poems and poets that you can explore more on your own. Along the way, we'll discuss poetic forms and styles, for instance, sonnets, odes, and other poetic forms. And we'll look at what makes poetry work as memorably and powerfully as it often does. In addition to all of this, I'll provide some background information, including a brief survey of the history of English and American poetry, along with some biographical information about the writers. I hope you'll gain two especially important things from this class. First, the pleasure of experiencing the intense power and beauty of poetic language with its rich combination of sound, structure, symbolism, and imagery. And second, the wisdom that great writers offer about life with its ups and downs, joys and sorrows, and so on. I think you'll find that wisdom is conveyed in poetry in a way that penetrates our hearts. And that means that poetry can not only enrich our lives, it can actually change them. I look forward to sharing a life-changing experience with all of you as we look at some of the great poems of the English language.